What's up, everybody? Brian Phobos here, and today I want to do a pool meeting about a general business concept that has I've seen it plague other entrepreneurs. I've seen it obviously happen to me at certain times, and you're always going to feel like you're undercapitalized, but trying to chase the next dollar always becomes an issue in trying to build a sustainable business. And here's what I mean. So a lot of you guys are watching on YouTube, and you've maybe in the back of your mind thought, well, it's really cool. Like, there's people that are making millions of dollars off of YouTube. And I think that there's always been this lure of, fame and then like large viewership and large audience for, people who like to post on YouTube or who are interested in that. And the realization that you make with it is a lot of times you're going to be like unprofitable for like a year or 2 years, pretty much on YouTube. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say you start a channel, you're at 0 subscribers. It's a major grind to build a large following. And can you make like several videos a day? Or let's say if you're making like super crazy good videos with your own content, not these people who are like rehashing other people's content and compiling it, but can you make like a really commit your time and make like a couple solid videos a week, and that's going to support you, and that you're not going to somehow get kicked off of YouTube, or that it's going to be the sustainable income that's going to come in quickly? And the answer is usually no. It's usually going to take a couple years of being unprofitable on something like YouTube, and just businesses in general a lot of times, to really scale them. Now, of course, and I almost don't like the term side hustle, but it makes sense to use that kind of term. Let's say somebody has a full-time job and then they're selling a little bit of stuff on the side. Maybe they're going to estate sales and then, reselling that on eBay, or, that kind of thing, kind of a side hustle, where they're making a few extra bucks. But to actually like have something turn into something that you can live off of, it's harder said than done unless you have investment and you're almost subsidized for a prolonged amount of time, let's say more than a year. Now, what I mean by that, so like Jeff Bezos just became the richest man in the world off of Amazon, who ultimately Amazon's never actually turned a profit for its entire lifetime of over 20 years, which is really weird to me. Somebody can become a billionaire off of essentially a non-profitable company. And I know they've had a couple good quarters, and they have a large infrastructure, and there's a lot of people investing in them. That's what keeps it afloat. And it's like the gig's never up with it. So we'll see what happens in the future. But basically with Jeff Bezos, his parents loaned him $300,000 in the mid-90s, which would, and you can say inflation is this, inflation is that, but let's just say that's $500,000 or that's $600,000 in today's money. So let's say if you had $600,000 today, do you think you could live for a little bit? Do you think you could hire some employees? Do you think you could like really focus in and not have to worry about the bills just freaking coming in, just pounding you? And, the answer is probably yes. I'm not taking anything away from Jeff. Like, to do that, you can lose money. You could invest $300,000 or $600,000, and those people could lose that money. Ultimately, he was able to continue to get more investment, go public, more investment, and it's just like this thing that continues and perpetuates itself. So, I applaud him, I guess. He played the game well. He's very rich. I do respect Jeff Bezos. I'm not doing any kind of disrespect towards him. Also, the guy who has GoPro, the CEO of GoPro, I forget his name, Nick Woodman. So he had a large investment from family as well. But you need enough investment a lot of times so that you can wholly like invest your time and your energy into that one thing instead of just kind of like dabbling on the side. What I've noticed when I've got too many things going on, it's like, where's your focus? Let's say if your focus is working out, you're working out 2 times a day, you're getting plenty of sleep, you're eating right, it takes up a lot of your energy. Now that's a big amount of time. But then let's say you've got a full-time job, you're never going to be as fit as you would be if you didn't have a job. Obviously, like if my focus is like working out and that kind of thing, then I can get proper rest. I don't have to get up. I don't have to listen to anybody else. But then, your time gets fractured between 2, 3, 4 different things. You're in a relationship, gets fractured with that. But essentially, if you're in a situation where you have to chase the next dollar as an entrepreneur, it's like, do you spend this $1,000 on bills, or you spend this $1,000 on inventory that you're going to then resell online and make money on that? Can you turn it quick enough to then pay your bills and then have still the extra money? It just depends how big your bills are and how much stuff you're moving. I mean, you can't think, well, I'm going to start out with $10 and then I'm going to turn that over until it's $1 million. That's just the type of return, because you're not going to be able to like spend enough time like turn that over to a point where it's going to grow big enough that you can like live on it, but then keep enough money in the thing to keep it perpetuating. And I'm not being negative by saying any of this stuff, guys. I'm just trying to say, like, you have to come to a realization that if somehow, some way, and it, to think that you're going to have to live uncomfortably or like sacrifice all these different things to reach your goals, it's a very tough thing mentally. I've seen Olympic athletes who have basically spent greater than a decade. They don't have a house. They don't really have, any kind of savings. They went to the Olympics, which was amazing, and I envy them for that. But in the same token, there's other aspects of their life that suffered because their focus was on the Olympic dream, and some of them end up becoming jaded because they feel left out that, well, they didn't have a house like this other person that they graduated college with, or this or that. And it's just it's a mental struggle. Same thing with entrepreneurs. You're always going to have to probably give some, unless you have the funding. Money talks, bullshit walks. If you've got the money to do it. So I'm not saying like sit around and complain because you don't have $300,000 like Jeff Bezos did in the mid 90s and you can't build Amazon. It is what it is. You're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to, you're just going to have to make it work. But for the first couple years of business, a lot of times you're going to have to be inefficient before you become efficient, and sort of like learn the ropes of your industry, your business. It's always going to keep changing, and if you can't focus out all your time without the pressure that these bills are just coming in, to where you have to divert your energy over to doing something else that can make you money right then that's an issue. So I blog on Steemit a lot. Also, with YouTube as well, you can say the same thing like that. If you had enough money to sit there and every day work on your YouTube channel, probably most likely you're going to find a big audience, whatever you're talking about. But if you don't have the time to commit to it, and you'll go broke trying to become big on YouTube. So anyway, guys, that's just my thinking. Somehow, some way, put yourself into a situation, even if it's like on a small level, to where somehow you could live for a year or two without the worry of bills and stuff like that, to where you could actually really grow your business. Extremely tough to do, but that's how the biggest businesses essentially end up getting built. Anyway, thanks for attending the pool meeting. Just some thoughts on that.